Parashat Shoftim, V'shotim titen lecha. Everybody likes to talk about the beginning of the parasha. I share with you something at the end of the parasha. The end of the parasha says Torah, Ki matzeh chalal ba'adama Hashem titen lecha. When you find a dead body in roads between the cities, and you don't know who killed this person. Now Torah says, when you find a dead body, what should we do? We're going to measure which city is the closest city to this body, and that city, and all of the elders of that city, they should wash their hands on Igla Rufa Banachal, on a baby cow. The elders come and they should wash their hands. They have to bring a korban, and the elders, they should come and they should bring the korban, and they should say, Anu Vamru. What the elders say? Our hands didn't pour this blood. And our eyes didn't see. Kaper Ramecha. In other words, you should make kapara for your nation, Hashem, that you redeem them. Very interesting. Therefore, we find the halal between the cities. Torah said there is a ceremony. The elders of the city that's close by, they have to say, and they have to come that you say that first of all, Torah is saying that every Jew is important. One time, somebody was sick, a baby was sick in Iran, and they needed $100,000 to do operation on him. At that time, I was in America, I was in Baltimore. He had a relative in Los Angeles at that time. I called the relative, I told him that there is such a baby, he's your relative, please help. So how much money you need? It's $100,000. Why $100,000? So much money at that time, it was a long time ago. And then he said that, I said that if you don't do that, he might die. You know, he's told me, Rabbi, do you listen to news or not? I said, okay, sometimes I listen to news. He says, you don't understand. Listen to news. People die all the time. That was his version. Let him die. Why do you want so much money? And after all of this money, maybe he survives, maybe not. Why do you want to do that? Let him die. I cried for him. It was not for him, for the attitude of his life. Such a perspective in life, such a way of looking at life. What would he do to his parents? What would he do to his children? What would he do to his friends? Somebody. Life is very important. Torah says, you find somebody, dead body, the elders of the city, they have to get up and bring a korban. And we have to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, should be mechaper us. And the elders, you need the Rosh Yeshivot. Could you imagine? Rosh Yeshivot, Rabbi Steinman, right? Rabbi Yosef, all of these people, they have to bring korban. And what should they say? Our hands didn't shed this blood. No. Chazal say, V'chi alto alev she'zichnei bet din shofchei damim hem. Are we thinking that the elders, the Sanhedrin, the leaders of the nation, they shed blood? When they say that we didn't shed blood, means that we didn't see him to send him without mesonot or without accompanying him. Unfortunately, say doesn't sound right. Saying without mesonot, without accompanying him, that he is dead because of that. What's the point? We know that he was killed, he was murdered. What's the point of sending him without mesonot, without levayo? And they say, he was murdered. What does that have to do with mesonot and levayo for getting killed? And our hands didn't shed this blood. What does that have to do with that? On the Parashat Torah says something very important. They tell us that if there are people come to the city and they have a low spirit, they don't have ruach, they don't have energy. Now, if we don't get to them, if we don't talk to them, if we don't encourage them, when they go get away from the city, anybody could kill them, anybody could destroy them. And if somebody kills them because they are a low spirit, they can't defend themselves well, that's our fault. We are shedding this blood. The The Sanhedrin has to come and acknowledge, we didn't see him, we didn't send him without Mesonot. Unbelievable point. Torah is telling us there are two types of killing somebody. One is killing him with the murderer, to be a murderer, to take a knife and kill somebody. There's another type, it's a cold blood. Torah says, if a person kills somebody with a cold blood, is a murderer. It doesn't make a difference. No, what's the example of that? In community, we see people are down. We see people need encouragement. We see people need good word. We see people that they need to give them spirit. If a person doesn't do that, a person could do it, he doesn't do that, that is, we can't say person is involved. Our relatives, our people, they need moments, a person to get to them, to talk to them, to give them ruach, to give them spirit. And through that, they're going to lift up themselves. You know how many older people are here that are thirsty. They are thirsty. Somebody would come and visit them. Somebody give them a call. Or a lot of sick people, they're just in hospital. Nobody is there. Nobody goes to pay attention to them. And, the visitors and people, they come, they change. And I know there's a great psychology of, mental health. In other words, for sick people, if we could manage that mentally they should be better state, better position, it helps the system of healing. No, don't have to go very far. Even in the family, sometimes, we need encouraging word to our children, or even children to their parents, to be thankful, to thank. But you see mothers working so hard, preparing and doing, instead of, complaining and not being appreciating, to appreciate, to help, to do, to see. Another hand, to be helpful to your wife. See, sometimes, when we see a knife, we see a blood, we are awakened. But there's a cold blood. He's so down. Doesn't matter who is. Maybe it's a sibling, it's the mother, it's the father. You see, he's down. He has so much pressure, so much involvement. You go and help. You talk, you do, you act, you move. Torah is introducing something very deep and very practical, and it's applicable to our life nowadays, applicable to our family life. We have to understand a lot of times our children is a cold blood, our wife is a cold blood, or wife to the husband is cold blood, or children to the parents. Parents work so hard to prepare everything, and the comments that the children make is like it's sharper than a knife. It penetrates to the body and kills the person. It's a cold blood. Or the statement of the parents for children. I had in my office a child came and he was crying and crying. He couldn't talk. What type of treatment he gets from his parents? He couldn't even talk. I had to sit down and see his crying till, smooth down a little bit to be able to talk to me what the problem is. So it's a cold blood. It's a cold blood. Torah here is saying that, person say, oh, who cares? I say good morning, not good morning. Who cares? I care for him or not. Sometimes not caring for your neighbor or somebody next to you, you killed him, you destroyed him. You told him as if he doesn't exist. And that's killing somebody, that's destroying somebody. A little bit good morning, a little bit how are you? Just a few words goes very far. And the lack of that goes very far also. Person has to understand with our attitude, with our way of talking, with our way of dealing with people, not killing somebody. Someone was telling me somebody just went to him like this. That's it. You killed him, you destroyed him. You told him you are burnished, you are nothing, you are zero. Therefore, we have to understand. Unbelievable parasha, I think. This parasha is saying that Torah is saying yes, lo ra'inu patranu b'lo mesunu b'lo b'vidya. We didn't see him to stand in without accompanying him. If we would have seen him and we wouldn't have done it, that's called murder. That's called killing somebody. Be very careful. And in the positive note, if somebody is a low esteem, low ruach, low spirit, you give him encouragement, you give him chizuk. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, like you are mechayeh my children, just like you give life to my children, I give you life, I give you blessing, I give you bracha. On the positive note, if a person gets to the older people, in the people that the sick people, to visit them, somebody you see he has a hard time. You see that he's not smiling enough. You go to him and make him smile. See what you could do. A lot of times just talking to somebody. My father Zichron Livracha used to say that even a mountain, that it is staying there, doing nothing, doesn't move. When you talk to him, he answers you. Have you ever been by mountains? You scream, what happens? There is an echo. What does echo mean? He gets up, he gives life. When you talk to somebody, you give him life. You give him existence. You make him talk. You give him life. This is very important. Listen again. With our attitude, with our working, with our talking, with our facial expression, we could give life to people or take life. We have to be very careful to use it in the right way.